it's gone. His face is cleaner. Stephen is distraught. And it is also cleaner after Pie Face finally happened. But it's not about Stephen today. It's about the top 10 drivers of the IndyCar season 2021. Let's get into it.
It is all about me, thank you very much.
Hi guys, I'm Mike.
And I'm Stephen.
And this is Indy Fanatics, your home for IndyCar content with weekly podcasts and feature videos. Welcome back to the IndyCar Podcast. Stephen, how are you feeling today? Probably a bad time to ask that question. You want to get the explanation of this out the way?
No.
No? Okay. Well, we'll start off with today, like we mentioned, the main focus of this video is we're going to do a top 10 drivers of this year's season who had risen to the highest heights, who had been star performers all year.
Don't ask me.
Because Stephen got it wrong. And he is going to suffer the consequences for that later on this video. So make sure you stay to the end because you will see the clip of me pieing Stephen in the face.
All I can smell is cream.
All he can
Whipped
smell is cream. But here is some rare behind the scenes footage of Indy Fanatics as the beard goes. The beard is gone. Stephen, do you feel colder on your chin now?
Yeah. I feel like I'm going to get hypothermia.
So there we go.
So thanks, Pato. Thanks a lot. If I die from hypothermia because I'm feeling cold, because of my lack of warmth, it's yours. It's on your hands.
Blood is on your hands. And that's a wonderful way to start off the IndyCar podcast. You know who's not got blood on their hands? The top 10 IndyCar drivers of the season. So we're going to go in no particular order, although we can obviously... Okay, let's start off with number one. The obvious one, it's not even going to be hard because it'll be everyone's. It's Alex Palou!
Wait, we've gone from the best to the worst of the best.
No, I was just going to do a mix order, but I thought we'd start off with Alex because that's the obvious one.
Sorry, I kind of dampened there. Hello, Pato!
Hello, Pato! It's the IndyCar champion and was the driver of the season. Simple as that, really.
Easy. Yeah. Obviously, we're going to be doing our full season review next week with a special guest. So we're just going to be hitting you. Not physically, but with our top 10.
I physically hit Stephen with a pie.
Some quick hits. Palau.
3 wins.
Yeah, 3 wins.
1 pole position and 1 inherited pole position for championship position.
And 1 IndyCar championship.
He was the surprise package, but he was unbelievable all year. Incredible.
Lots of fried chicken was had.
It was. Winner chicken dinner, after all. And his chicken limo.
There's now a fried chicken shortage in the US.
Because Alex Palou is winning too damn much. You know what happens when you win an IndyCar championship and your favourite winning meal is fried chicken? You have all the fried chicken. Alex Palou won't be able to fit in his car next season because of the amount of fried chicken that he's having in this postseason.
He's just been incredible. So yeah. Alex Palou. We'll talk more about him next week, but for now, he's number 1.
He is the top driver of the IndyCar season. So realistically, the only way from this point with the top 10 drivers is down.
Let's go on to the worst IndyCar drivers this season.
And then build it back up. No.
Okay, number 2. I feel like we got to get this one done. We asked for a justice video for this guy. No one did it, so we're going to have to do justice for him in this video, and that is Graham Rahal.
Justice for Graham Rahal! In translation, Graham Rahal.
I think he could have easily got top 5 in the championship standards this year if bad luck hadn't gone against him. Although you can say that for a lot of people. I think the most notable one was the 500. Having that wheel not properly tightened on and then going out of that race when he was looking so good.
Well, it also doubly compounds it because he was looking so good and so thought he had a genuine chance of winning the race, which obviously is a big deal.
Yeah.
But also the fact it is double points in the championship.
Yeah.
So he got basically nothing.
Yeah.
Compared to his competitors. Yeah, he may have even got a top 4 finish.
So even though he didn't get any wins, any podiums or any poles, he looked super consistent. And if he just had a little bit of luck in some races, he could have easily been challenging for the win, and if not, podiums.
He is the biggest surprise for me this year that he didn't at least get a podium or at least win, because his driving ability this year definitely deserved it. And Rahal, Lettman, Lanigan definitely looked like a team going in the right direction. Obviously, the 2020 Indy 500 winner as a complete package, 7th and 11th in the championship was a pretty solid return considering how strong Ganassi are and going up against the juggernauts of, Team Penske as well. Yeah, they beat the majority of Team Penske drivers.
Yep.
They beat the majority of Andretti Autosport drivers. And only really Chip Ganassi and Pato Award could better them this year.
Well done.
Well done. A fantastic drive without actually winning. Should we go back to another shout out, your man? We mentioned him there, guys. Last week, obviously, we did our season highlights video. If you haven't already checked that out, we basically just did a run through of the whole season with our highlights of the 2021 season. And obviously, you can still let us know your highlights in the comments below. But I said Rahal, Lettman, Lanigan were the best performing midfield team. Well, it's because Arrow McLaren SP did so well this year that I kind of forget that they are a smaller team. They are not. They are technically a midfield team if you have those kind of distinctions within IndyCar, because obviously everything's a lot more, kind of plain, even playing field within the series.
It's all about the data behind the scenes that separates the teams.
Absolutely. But, Pato Awards, P3 in the championship, arguably should have been P2. Jones! Still bitter about that one, Stephen. But yeah, talk me through Pato's season. Why does he make the top 10 drivers this year?
3rd in the championship, 2 wins, 3 pole, 2 poles.
He got a pole at Barber. He got a pole in Detroit. And I feel like he got a pole at IMS.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was 3 pole positions.
3 poles. 3 poles. 3-2-3. He was just mega all year. He's fine in a midfield team, challenging the big boys of Chip Ganassi and Team Penske. And it was kind of that pure fighting spirit. In the highlights, when you did the overtake highlights, there was just a lot of Pato, because that's what he did. He just fought for every single position.
Full send. Him and Grandjean were full send.
Just thinking of his first win in Texas, on a track that people found it difficult to overtake on. I believe that was the race he got the radio message of just, stay calm, Pato. The race, just drive carefully along those lines. And then Pato just full send it and got to the lead and cruised to victory. And then it was like similar to his second win in Detroit race 2. It was the restarts. He was just a man on fire. Just, I think he came back he started the restarts because there was 2 in like 6th or 5th. And then obviously took Joseph Newgarden with 2 laps to go. So yeah, a pure fighter that put himself in the title challenge. Improved on his performance last year. Pato! We're going to go 2 Bella next year.
Absolutely. It's the only way you could have ended up a Pato section with a Pato!
Yeah.
Now from there, Now, back to Ganassi, I think, is probably one to talk about, because Scott Dixon's an interesting one, because a lot of people had him as a title favourite because it's Scott Dixon. He's won 6 of them, so he's probably going to be up there. And P4, he didn't go into the last race in championship contention, but he still was P4 in the championship. Still had a pretty strong, solid year, just doing what Scott does from there. Won at Texas again, making that his 5th win at the Speedway there in Texas. He got his 51st career win in the series, and he continues to just be an absolute legend of the sport. Again, probably like Graham Rahal, and obviously being within Ganassi, it was probably the difference between championship and no championship. He again had an Indy 500 where Stephen Wilson's caution meant that he ran out of fuel on the way to the pits because they were closed during the caution period, because the leaders generally stay out longer on that run, and that cost him. But he was lightning quick in that pole position, but 17th, I think, was his Indy 500 position. Compare that to Alex Palou, 2nd. Joseph Newgarden, you could argue, say 12th. P12 was down there. I think Pato was right up there. I can't believe, was he P3? Pato in the end? No, Pagenaud won P3. I think Pato was P4. He lost it at the end, didn't he?
Thanks for that one.
Yeah, sorry about that one. But, those were big moments. Gateway. Dixon is traditionally quite strong on oval tracks, and he got taken out at the start in that collision with VK and Palou. As much as it hurt Palou's title bid, it also hurt Scott Dixon's title bid as well. And it was just a season where it didn't come together. But then I found it quite interesting. It's an interesting discussion to have, and we'll talk about it probably more in the season review next week. But Scott Dixon has never won back-to-back championships in his career. But because he hasn't won back-to-back championships this year, is he done?
Is he done? No, of course not.
That's what I think. I go, it's far too early to say Scott Dixon is done as a championship contender.
My thing with Scott was he was always kind of in title contention without you really knowing it. And that's what Scott does. He just consistently puts in good results. If he hadn't got the bad luck at Gateway, if he hadn't got the bad luck at Indy 500, he definitely would have been in the fight in the final race.
Absolutely.
So he's always there. He's at the top, and 4th in the standings is still a great achievement.
Absolutely.
It's still better than, 22 other drivers. Full-time drivers, whatever.
I feel like another young guy is probably the best one to go up yet, and there's only one young guy in the top 5 that we haven't yet covered. Who might he be, Stephen?
Mr. Colton Herta. Bam.
I want to take this time to say thank you to Colton for obviously winning and keeping your promise. We didn't want to come after you over Bunnygate. We didn't want to have to do that. We didn't want to have to, fight you on Little Chungus. All right. But Big Chungus, 3 wins.
Brought it home in those final 2 races. 3 wins. How many pole positions? 3 poles. You loved your 3s. And 5th in the overall championship standings. Another one where luck abandoned him this year. And it was only his pure blistering pace that secured him his victories at St. Pete and obviously Laguna Seca and Long Beach. He just, a large part of the season, he just couldn't catch a break. And it was just crazy that the guy with the joint most wins in the series wasn't in title contention going into the final race. We could look at all his bad bits of luck, but there's quite a lot, and you don't want to focus on that.
Yeah, I mean,
and some on those technical glitches,
and some were driver error, and some were just kind of team strategy and stuff like that. It was just Andretti for the past couple of seasons haven't really been able to put a consistent run of form within the season that you need to have to be a title contender.
Yeah,
not for Rossi in 2020, and not for Herta in 2021.
Yeah. But the future looks bright. Matching the most wins in the season, you can only go up from there.
Yeah. Look, we all know how good Colton Herta is as a driver. He is so supremely quick. Like, I would say Pato has been fantastic and Joseph Newgarden was fantastic at times, but there have been times this season with Colton Herta that he was just almost on a different racetrack to everyone else.
I think even though he didn't win, Nashville was probably the best example of that.
Yeah.
Qualifying was just...
You could argue Long Beach. I mean, I didn't properly process it, but he started 14th on a street course and got first convincingly. He led the most laps, even starting from 14th.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't just slowly get there. He got there quickly and then stayed there.
True.
But Nashville, again, yeah, he was like going 2 seconds quicker than everyone. It was just the fact that, as always, street courses are difficult to overtake, and Marcus Ericsson had something more on the straights.
Where the cautions fell, that's where that race went. But before that, if you just take qualifying and the early stage of the race, he was just gone. No one was on his level that day.
Was it?
You could say Long Beach. The only thing with Long Beach was it was something crazy like that. Newgarden was there at the end. But he just controlled it perfectly. Yeah, when on his day he is untouchable, especially on the streets.
As we mentioned in there a couple of times, because it seemed that actually between Colton and Joseph Newgarden, there were a few times that it was battling for the leads. And obviously, I think Joseph Newgarden in recent times has been pretty strong on road courses, pretty strong on street courses as well. And Pato and Colton Herta and Pato were the ones starting to challenge that dominance, which is always good because it means variety in winners on that. But Joseph Newgarden, he's one like Scott Dixon, and I guess he had slightly less bad luck at the Indy 500. Penske were just not there, really. Other than Pagenaud finds us there, but in qualifying, they were nowhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely, which obviously resulted in Will Power being involved in bump day. But Joseph Newgarden, like Scott Dixon, I don't know how Joseph Newgarden was in title contention.
It is crazy.
With the crash at Barber at first season, the 2 losses of wins, I suppose obviously Detroit, he still came second, but that's a 10-point swing.
Yeah, the torrid time in Nashville, yes. So you're going to say Road
America. There were just so many times that you were just like, and then back into the season, like qualifying so poorly.
Yeah.
Not necessarily how well. I remember just watching interviews and he was like, I don't know why I'm not there, basically. But it just shows how close the field is and how competitive it is. But he did amazing to finish P2 in the championship again.
Yeah, it was very strong from him.
Gurdjieff just kind of took around noises there. See, as always, she likes to have a little way in.
That's 6 down. We've done on Joseph. I think if Penske was more together, I think if you look at Penske as a whole, and I know Will go in, but if you look at Penske as a whole, they all struggled for large parts of the season. So that's even more of a how was Joseph in title contention? And with them slimming the team down next year, that could possibly help with resources. Joseph is still looking very strong. And obviously, he said he was the middle child, backing up the theory of
middle age.
But even at 29, he may not be the youngest. He may not be the most experienced. He's still one of the best.
Peak of his powers. I would be surprised if by the time Joseph Newgarden's career ends, he has not added at least one more IndyCar title and hasn't won the Indy 500 once. Yeah. I would be massively surprised. But you never know. I might have just horribly jinxed him. And in that case, I'm really sorry, Joseph, because you're fantastic.
That's 6 down. We got only 4 more can make the cut. That's where it gets tough.
It is.
So where it gets tough.
Marcus Ericsson. Surprise package.
Yeah.
I think in that, a lot of people wouldn't have... He'd shown promise in IndyCar, but never did. It got to that stage before the Detroit and his first win in the series that we made a video saying it was career-defining for the Swedes in the series. Felix Rosenqvist had struggled adapting to life at Arrow McLaren SP, and Marcus Ericsson had done okay, but nothing kind of stand out. And then went on literally, I don't know if he was in the end, but he was certainly up there as one of the highest point scorers since the Indy 500. He just went on an insane end of season run of form. Fizzled out a little bit in the last couple of races.
Yeah, I'd say the last triple header, he wasn't quite there. Obviously falling out of title contention into the last race. But yeah, he had a mega run from the 500 to... Portland?
Yeah.
It was like, is Marcus going to be in the fight here for the title going into the final race? Is he going to be amongst those names? Unfortunately, it didn't pan out. But yeah, mega. Two victories. Qualifying. He doesn't look like he can qualify right at the top.
Consistently. He had obviously... What was it? Mid-Ohio, I think it was, where he came P2 to Joseph Newgarden. I think that was one of his best qualifying performances. I think he started P3 that race.
Yeah.
But yeah, consistently, the qualifying is still something that lets him down.
But his racecraft, he's just shown you can't question it. It's top of the game there. And he showed that in his 2 victories.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that with his 2 victories, although there was an element of good fortune to both victories. Yeah, in terms of obviously the way the cautions fell in Nashville, the red flag for willpower there, and obviously going skyborne in Nashville and somehow having no substantial damage to the car other than a replacing front wing and coming through to the front there. But it was a real season. Like we said in the season highlights video, it was the season that he really truly found his feet in IndyCar. And it's going to be really exciting to see whether it was just a flash in the pan or whether Marcus Ericsson is going to be a title contender next year.
Yes.
Now I guess it gets tough. There is one that is definitely nailed on and I want to leave him for last.
Okay.
But it's now these 2 that we've got to kind of decide to. And
I feel like I know the one you've nailed on for last.
Yeah. I think everyone knows that one, but they'll see and probably go for our thoughts there. But I think potentially Sebastian Bourdais is there. It's an unusual one because if you look at his stats and you look at the season as a whole, you'll go, well, but I think from where AJ Foyt Racing have been, especially the past couple of seasons, how he came in at the back end of the year at St. Pete 2020, got a P4. He got 2 P5s this season, including a P5 at the first season at Barber and P5 at Gateway. He went from last to 8th in the season finale at Long Beach. I know but I think if you look at where he was running, where some of the misfortune got him, like at Texas, he was running in the top 10. It then forced him to start the back on the second Texas race. And it never really recovered. And obviously, Sebastian is going to be the focus of our Who Is series video. We're returning to that series coming up Friday. So a nice drop there. But I feel like he's a contention. Looking at championship position, someone who went under the radar probably is Takuma Sato. But again, it's a difficult one. Scott McLaughlin is a rookie.
Okay. No, we're going all over the place.
Okay, we're going all over.
I'm going to hit... we've done 7, right? Yeah. Marcus Ericsson was 7. We know who 10 is. We just need 2 more to make the top 10.
Yes, we do.
And I'll throw the names at you. Roman Grosjean. And I kind of want to, but maybe you may question, you could pick your own one, but Scott McLaughlin. I go 2 rookies.
Oh, it's a little bit worrying because I thought the nailed on one was Roman Grosjean. As always, a smooth running on this show, I think.
Okay.
Roman Grosjean for me is easy top 10 driver.
Okay, my third one's Elio Castro-Neves.
You see, that's what I wasn't sure of, because when we did the kind of mid-season top 10 drivers of the season so far, Elio definitely, because he wins the Indy 500. But over the course of a whole season, he had some more races, and he didn't really do anything.
Okay.
You could argue Santino Ferrucci had a... No. Let's not go there.
This is so... Okay, we're on 3. Okay, we've got 3 to go. Are you happy with Scott McLaughlin going in there? I think he had a very impressive rookie season.
I think overall, considering that he is a genuine single-seater rookie...
Exactly.
And how well he did on ovals, and just... It was ups and downs, and sometimes wasn't his fault as well. You know, was involved with collisions with teammates sometimes. I would be happy to put Scott McLaughlin
I think he had an impressive rookie season. Like you say, true rookie. He got that podium in Texas. It wasn't Penske's year. And obviously going down to 3 seats next year. Maybe. I feel like he had a solid foundation. I think he deserves a shout in the top 10, because he did only finish 11th, I think, in the overall standings. Actually, that may have been Takuma.
Takuma was 11th.
Finished 14th in the standings, which really isn't that bad for a rookie year. And obviously, he got that podium. So that's why I want to chuck him in the top 10. Who's your number 9 before Mr. Roman Grosjean?
So, right, candidates for me would be Bourdais, Sato, Power.
It's funny that we don't even look at Pagenaud. Because he came 8th in the standings at the end. But I don't think he had.
But I feel the Indy
season.
500 massively influenced that, because he got 3rd in that, remember?
Yeah.
And for Penske, it was never a season got together. And he's ahead of Will Power in the standings.
Yeah.
But Will Power did have Detroit away from
I don't
him.
want to put Will Power in there. I think there were far too many mistakes.
I think there were too many driver errors from there.
Yeah.
He was the only one I was going because he's won a race. So naturally, he probably has to come in the discussion.
So you're saying either Sato, Bourdais, I back Bourdais. And you've already given your spiel about Bourdais. So there we go. We've made it to the top 10.
We've made it.
You can hit your Roman Grosjean now.
Grosjean! Roman! Viva la revolution! Bonjour! Au revoir! Hello!
Okay, then that's the top 10.
Yeah, no. Right. Apart from my terrible French, I'm getting it in there. I also, for the feature video coming up Friday, any French viewers who do watch us, I apologise for me and Stephen butchering any French names within that. We do try our best, but French in particular doesn't go down well from the way we speak.
We don't quite have the flair.
No. We don't. But you know who does have flair? Good leading. Roman Grosjean. Coming from obviously 10 years within Formula One, a lot of people were critical of his performance. I remember doing the Who Is video, and there were a lot of people going, you just kind of missed out all the bad bits of Roman Grosjean. But it was because I genuinely did believe that Roman Grosjean is a talented driver, and it's something that happens in F1 where a lot of talented drivers are made to look average and poor because of their machinery they're in. That isn't a knock on F1. It's just a fact. You know, there aren't enough competitive seats that can get race wins to show drivers' talent. And there's such disparity between cars that when drivers are going competitively, they have to push to stay competitive. That naturally results in more crashes. Was Grosjean's F1 career perfect? Absolutely not. Did he make a lot of mistakes? Yes. He got punished for those mistakes from there. But he had an unfair reputation, I think, coming into IndyCar that, you know, he was a bad driver. And I think a lot of people have sometimes said, well, look, IndyCar standards poor because Roman Grosjean's doing well and he was a bad driver in F1. And I think that's completely wrong. I think you just have to credit Grosjean was put in a car that was capable on its day of competing at the top of the IndyCar grid, and he took that opportunity. And, you know, he went full. And in IndyCar, the cars are more robust. We've said that. So you can do wheel-to-wheel racing, a little bit more aggressive and lunging moves. And we saw that at Laguna Seca. Like, if Grosjean did that move in the F1 that he did at Laguna Seca, then both cars would have been out and he would have been ripped apart by fans going, Grosjean! Yeah, with Jimmy Johnson. But then you had the opposite of that with his overtake on Scott Dixon, which was probably one of the overtakes of the season on that basis, which, was incredible. He was just so good. The pole position at IMS, he adapted. Those were obviously built, that track layout was mainly built for F1. So it's no surprise that, 2 of his 3 best performances came at that track. But as it developed later on in the season, Laguna Seca, obviously not a very traditional style F1 track, a very unique style. The corkscrew is such a unique corner in motorsport. He adapted to that well. It was charging there. The street courses at the end, in terms of he got better. Long Beach, a very challenging street course, and he was having a brilliant race within that until I think strategy came out, or was a pit stop, I think, that went wrong at Long Beach that made him drop out. But he again was charging through the field within that. But it was just a brilliant year for Grosjean, wasn't it?
Yeah, super.
Honourable mentions, obviously, like you said,
Elio for winning the 500. No, nothing more to add. I want to throw for another 500, Sage Karam. Obviously coming in with a P7. I always forget P7 in the 500. Incredible performance. And then other shout outs.
I feel that an interesting one is Rinus VeeKay. Because if we were going first half of the season, he was easy. For Ed Carpenter Racing, secured his first win within the series at the IMS road course. First time we were there, had a really strong performance at the Indy 500 in qualifying in particular, faded a bit in the race from there. But he was a guy challenging the top 5 in the championship, and then he had his accident.
Yes. And he just wasn't the same after his cycling accident.
He just wasn't the same.
But hopefully with a full post-season rehab, he can hit 2022 with a new fire to ignite Rocket Rinus. Other shout outs, Jack Harvey, and he looks, I'm trying to think of the words. He looks so good at times this year, but either strategy calls or just a bit of bad luck has stopped him and Maya Shank from fully sending it onto the podium and race victories bar the 500 with those two. It's not confirmed yet that he's gone to...
it isn't confirmed, I believe, yet that he's Rahul Lanigan, but it does feel like it's heavily reported there because Jack Harvey has to be in IndyCar next year because he's been a great driver, and it'll be interesting to see him within that Rahul Lanigan setup. Yeah,
so even though he finished outside top 10 standards, I think he deserves a little shout out there because he did put in some fantastic drives, but either way, something just... they were missing that one puzzle piece in so many races that could have made a great race. But unfortunately, it was either under the sofa, a cat had eaten it. The puzzle piece was gone and they couldn't find it in time.
It was gone for good.
So that's Jack Harvey's season. And then who else was I going to throw in there? No, I got no one else. If you want to throw anyone else,
no. I think, like I said, Sato potentially was there in top 10 because he consistently. I went back and looked at his results in terms of top 10 finishes. He was kind of very consistent all year in what Takuma Sato does, but obviously no standout performances like the Indy 500.
Little shout out.
Little shout out. From last year. But I think. He was very consistent, but not worthy of enough of making that top 10 list. So, that rounds up the top 10 element of it.
What a wild ride.
We again find a way of talking a very long time about a topic that could potentially be done shorter. But that's why you love us. It's just a discussion here on the couch because we have time.
Yeah.
And we're taking your time.
Yeah, hopefully you have time to give us.
Absolutely, thank you. And if you have made it this far into the video, you will be rewarded now by the footage of Pie Face for Stephen. Enjoy. Today, Stephen finds out what poor life decisions leads himself to. As you've seen, he's already lost his beloved beard. It's going to take time to grow that back. But now, he got it wrong. He didn't pick the star performer. And Stephen is not a star performer. It's time to put this in his face. Hey, Stephen.
Yeah. What?
That was better than I could hope for. Amazing. I still love that beer. I'd say the way it was perfect. The sound of it breaking. What a pie. The face. There you go, kids. You learned something on the internet today that, you know, there are consequences to your decisions.
We'll be back with season 2 on pie or not pie next year.
I feel like Stephen has suffered greatly this season. He's lost the beard. He got pied. I feel like karma is going to come my way and hit me next year. But I hope that's not the case.
We're going to up the stakes. Next year, 2 pies are on the line.
Bang! Bang! Go from there. But yes, that is it for it today, guys. Just quick, obviously there. Make sure you're tuning in for the season review next week with our mystery guest. We'll reveal that at the start of next week, who it is. Joining us on the podcast, we should be recording it on Friday, so we'll definitely know at the start of next week whether that went ahead or not. And then this Friday, there will be the feature video of Sebastian Bourdais. Who is he? Well, we're going to tell you, because the Who Is series is back as the post-season content gets into full swing. But they're new around here or haven't done so already and enjoyed what they've seen today, Stephen, what can they do?
They can like, subscribe and ding that bell.
Ding it! So for now, you Indy fans, keep racing!